Dying Light is a first-person zombie game from Techland, the creators of Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide. You play as Kyle Crane, a GRE undercover operative sent into the zombie-infested city of Harran to obtain a sensitive file from a generic boss man named Reyes. Corruption and double-crossing ensues. It's pure popcorn. However, it does a great job of facilitating the world that you are placed in. This is a zombie apocalypse story, so it isn't going to blow you away. And let's be honest, we didn't watch Die Hard expecting a rom-com about a sexually frustrated barber who has a thing about blue rinse and the elderly. It is what it is, and we are totally fine with it. Starting out in Harran, you will feel a sense of weakness. Supplies seem limited and weapons are not particularly strong and break easily. The early hours are the most tense, and the first encounter with the nighttime is a real brown trouser affair. Basically just run and hide in a safe house. The story missions are very much go here, grab that, fight that affair. However, the chance of getting distracted is massive, and it is a rarity that you'll be forced to only do the story mission. The side quests themselves can be lengthy and at times blow away the main story. There are various other side missions where types of challenges from NPCs which come with a really nice reward for completion. Harran itself is made up of 2 large and 1 small map, plus there are many other interiors to boot. The design is very open and has a fair amount of height, as you could imagine for a game with a lot of parkour. There is also a fair amount of nods to horror and zombie movies, and a fair amount of Easter eggs to other game franchises, The Last of Us being one of these. We also love some of the little stories that are told by the environments, like the guy hanging from the door frame of his room. Clearly he's taken his own life because he couldn't deal with the horrors of the world outside. The mechanics are modelled on your standard first person shooter, but the R1RB button is mapped for jumping and not X and A like you would expect. With no way of changing this, you will find the first 4 to 5 hours to be a bit of a pain in the ass. After about 10 or 15 hours of play, the penny dropped, and we realised that it was actually the correct decision to map the buttons here. Ultimately, the whole thing feels very Dead Island, but a lot less wonky. The parkour, which is the game's biggest feature, works very well. It initially feels broken, but once you realise you have to look at where you're jumping, you'll grab them lunges every time. Once you unlock the grappling hook, you'll find yourself swinging around almost like Spider-Man. It's a game changer, and there is a tendency to become a little bit too over-reliant on it. But with great power comes great... Another thing you need to know is the controls are designed primarily for melee weapons. It can feel quite funky when using guns. The overall game is tailored to melee weapons, and there's a great variety on offer here, especially with the inclusion of crafting new weapons from items salvaged in the environment. We've avoided guns for the most part of the game and found ourselves eventually sticking to one particular craft weapon. There is an uncomfortable sense of satisfaction when you smash a zombie's head in, which doesn't seem to get old. Guns, on the other hand, don't seem to have the same punch. The game includes a variety of skills that can be levelled up. These range from abilities to improve weapon use, survival, parkour and fighting skills, just to name a few. Once you are completely levelled up, you will be confident enough even to stay out all night and take on the volatiles. The one addition we would have liked to have seen would have been the ability to put silencers on your guns. One pop for your gun and hordes of zombies start running for you, which sometimes can be very frustrating. Another thing we missed was that at a specific point in the story, the supply drops from cargo planes just stops. And so did a whole experience and excitement of rushing to collect them before anyone else did. We lost count of the amount of hours we spent with the game, and we found ourselves wasting hours just free running, killing and taking part in random events that spawn frequently throughout the city. We haven't even mentioned co-op and the be a zombie mode. We never actually found any game breaking glitches while playing the game. However, we got blown out of the map once. Also, once we unlocked the grappling hook, we were able to get to a few areas where we fell out of the map and the odd invisible wall which would block our way. To be fair, we forced a lot of these by trying to get to places which clearly we weren't supposed to go to. Dying Light just wasn't what we were expecting. All the previews, the gameplay footage we encountered before release just doesn't do the game any justice. You have to play it to really appreciate it. We think it's a great game, and to be fair, being big zombie fans, we can easily overlook any rough edges it has. This is a great new zombie franchise, and we would love to see where Techland take us next. We give it 8 out of 10.